three parts. First of all, I want to look at the medical issue, then the religious issue, and then I want to look at it in a human rights issue. So the medical issue is, what are we talking about? We're talking about the removal of 20-30% of human skin, of the skin on the penis, 10 to 20,000 erotogenic nerve endings, loss of reciprocal stimulation of the foreskin, loss of glands, loss of gliding action for the purposes of fulfilling a religious tradition. So a survey in America by Williamson and Williamson showed that the two main reasons chosen by a sample group of American mothers were appearance and hygiene for getting babies circumcised. Cosmetic reasons aside, the best cure for a hygiene issue to most male experiences is actually just cleanliness. So the evidence for the benefits, the evidence for the benefits other than that are hotly contested in medical journals. Most of the positive research comes from the USA, but more and more research is coming from various medical bodies slamming circumcision as non-beneficial to the child. The British Medical Association has publicly stated that the benefits are not proven. The Australian College of Physicians and Canadian Paediatric Society claim the same. Even the American Academy of Paediatricians stated that existing evidence is not sufficient to recommend the procedure across the board. All these considerations come to the view that it is morally permissible to remove healthy tissue from the body. There is no convincing evidence that circumcision is useful or necessary in terms of prevention or hygiene. Partly in the light of the complications which can arise during or after circumcision, circumcision is not justifiable except on medical or therapeutic grounds. Insofar as there are medical benefits such as a possible risk of reduced HIV infection, it is reasonable to put off circumcision until the age at which such a risk is relevant to the boy himself and he can decide about the intervention. It cannot be convincingly demonstrated that the medical intervention is in the best interest of the child, as in the case of vaccinations. So moving on to a religious issue. Should parents mark children with a sign of a covenant that when they're going to grow up in a world of choices, they are rightfully not obliged to choose to become part of that same religion? I'm not trying to offend anyone with this analogy, but it seems like giving someone a stone-cutter's tattoo at birth and saying, well, now you can join whatever secret society you want now that you're an adult. A child cannot sew back on a foreskin, but a child can leave a religion or never hold any faith in it whatsoever. This is not to say that a lack of circumcision would be to demotivate or take away from parents' opportunity to educate their child in whatever tradition they see fit. It would simply mean that the child's physical integrity would be intact and that they could, when ready, make whatever necessary informed steps they deemed appropriate to make a covenant with God. Female genital mutilation is widely condemned, yet in many places it has been considered a rite of passage into adulthood. Yet motivations are similar. Religious cleanliness of boys through circumcision is from the same custom, the same misinformed general view that held women unclean in their menstruation. Surely if religion can move past this, then it can also do without male circumcision as well. Fundamentalism, following the text of the letter. How many laws in Leviticus are followed to the letter? How many daughters are stoned? How many slaves are held? When does interpretation come in? When is it a matter of now we can eat shellfish or our beards can now be cut? But when is it a matter of the autonomy and the safety of the child? This ban probably being the wrong word, should be interpreted by religious communities and leaders not as an attack, but as a way to show your faiths can modernise and accept later circumcision as the personal choice is the keystone to making a covenant with God. To quote Surah 40:64, He designed you and designed you well, yet the child is considered the property of the parents who are fulfilling their religious commitment regardless of the child's integrity. To my mind, a misguided motivation. Stereotypically giving a child plastic surgery to impart a bigger nose so they'd seem more Jewish, or a little feet so they'd be Asian, or a scar so they'd be identified as moon worshippers. I'm sure that doesn't fit in with the Declaration of the Child, or the Universal Declaration of the Rights of the Child, which I'll explore next. International law defines the child as an actor, and as such the state has a responsibility to defend their choices, much like other people's, until they come into adulthood or spiritual maturity and are able to make these crucial decisions for themselves and flourish as religious beings. In Article 3 of the Declaration, in all actions concerning children, blah blah blah, the court of law, administrative authorities or legislative bodies, the best interest of the child shall be a primary consideration. Article 14.1, state parties shall respect the right of the child to freedom of thought, conscience and religion. Part 2 of the same article, state parties shall respect the rights and the duties of the parents when applicable, legal guardians to provide direction to the child in the exercise of his or her own right in a manner consistent with the evolving capacities of the child. That means guidance to take circumcision when they are older, not to change the body of the child. Freedom to manifest one's religion or beliefs may be subject only to such limitations as, part 3, freedom to manifest one's religion or beliefs may be subject only to such limitations as are prescribed by law and are necessary to protect public safety, order, health or morals, or the fundamental rights and freedoms of others. Article 19.1, the state party shall take all the appropriate legislative, administrative, social and educational measures to protect the child from all forms of physical or mental violence, injury or abuse, neglect or negligent treatment, maltreatment or exploitation, etc. So what does all this link to? Well, it links to that religious right of the child is to be unhindered in their growth. as an independent, autonomous actor in the matrix of their parents' religious community and society. This means a child being nurtured emotionally, spiritually, and appropriately by their parents and their community until they are of age to form their own religious views. The right to physical integrity and the right to religious freedom of the child imply that religiously motivated, irreversible interventions to the body of the child should be avoided and, as the proposition proposes, banned. After all, this leaves the child the freedom to make up its own mind whenever and in whatever form he/she wishes to relate to the particular religious community. Baptizing children, for example, leaves no irreversible marks on the body and as such is not a curtailment of the child's religious freedom, whereas, in my view, irreversible circumcision is.